Salve YouTube, and welcome to online battle number 16 for Total War Rome 2. I just want you guys to take a moment to notice that when you looked at the thumbnail for this video, the bar behind the text was blue. And I just want to kind of guide you guys a little bit before we continue. When you see a thumbnail that has a blue bar, that means that this is a battle that's going to showcase a specific army and how to try to utilize that army effectively. Today, we're going to look at some viable Seleucid builds, so let's get right on with it. Alright guys, so this is the first battle that I'm going to show you. There are going to be two battles in this video. This is one of the Seleucid builds. Now, the Seleucids are a very versatile faction. In my previous video, I showed you guys pretty much how not to use the Seleucids. A lot of people look at their, their expensive units and think, oh, if I just bring a lot of expensive units, maybe I'll do well, but that's not true. The Seleucids' power comes in their versatility, and with their versatility, there is inevitable unpredictability. So your opponent won't really be able to tell what kind of army you bring against them. What you have to do is match your opponent's faction and try to play better than your opponent's faction on the given map. So in this battle, I'm using the Seleucids against Arverni. So I've opted to go with 6 units of Royal Peltasts as my core units, and the reason I'm bringing these guys is because they have 62 melee attack and they have 49 melee defense, as well as 70 armor and 70 base morale. These guys are the sturdiest, one of the sturdiest sword units in the game. I followed up with 2 units of Indian War Elephants. These are absolutely necessary when dealing with barbarian armies and any armies that try to bring lots of infantry to deal with your Seleucid army. Elephants allow you to wrap flanks very quickly and easily. My cav component, it's actually only 4 Agema Cav. I think so. No, it's not even that. I've got 2 Agema Cav here on my right flank, and then I have 1 Hellenic Cataphracts general on this side, and then 1 unit of Azat Knights. The Azat Knights, in my opinion, are the best unit that the Seleucids field. Why? Look at that melee defense, guys. 74 melee defense and 90 hit points means that these guys are one of the most formidable melee cab in the game. They can stand up to Noble Horse, and sometimes they even do well against Aspis Companion Cavalry. Finally, I've got 1 unit of Camel Archers. And here we go. I'm just going to pause before the engagement happen and kind of explain what's happening. I don't know if you noticed, but my opponent tries to charge me here on the side. He's going to, the first engagement was a little bit too close to his lines. I did pull out a little bit, and notice how I now turned around, and I'm going to get a pretty much almost stationary charge against this 1 unit of Heavy Horse and 1 unit of Noble Horse. My opponent actually brought a pretty good army. He has 1 Heavy Horse, 3 Noble Horse. Here they are over here. And notice how these guys have 59 melee defense and 90 hit points, as opposed to 73 melee defense for the Azats. So the Azats are just a superior unit. Over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Oathsworns, 2 Spear Nobles, and he's brought 4 of these Celtic Skirmishers. And in this patch, Celtic Skirmishers are actually pretty good. If you bring them around the flank, they actually do lots of damage with their javelins. So the first thing I did notice is that how I moved my general and my Azat. This is really my strongest cav component. I noticed that my opponent's cav here, luckily for me, was kind of isolated. And while I start the fight here, I also move my elephants to this flank. And notice how I've got the camels, the elephants, and I'm going to do really nice charges against these Noble Horse and the Heavy Horse. And we're going to see the effects here shortly. So I didn't get a great charge here, only kill about, how many? About 10 men in that charge. Here, it's a little bit better. See, I'm already into the 13, 14 range, and these guys are starting to waver. In come the elephants. And look, the elephants aren't really going to engage. He's going to engage my elephants here, so I'm just going to trample and run into him. I really wanted to move my elephants around and hit his wary Oathsworns. So the elephants are doing this scare effect. In come the camels. They're going to do this scare effect as well. My cav are victorious here, and look at this. I'm going to slam with my general into this stationary Noble Horse. Over here comes the charges. Not super clean charges again, but I do hit Intimidate. And look, I'm gonna now send my other units of elephants here, because I see a unit of Oathsworn that's unprotected, no spears at all. No matter what these guys do, they're not gonna stand up to an elephant. When you see elephants, you need to take them out as soon as possible. He should have sent his skirmishers to me and thrown flaming arrows to maybe drive them amok. I'm winning the cav fight on the right flank. I do have cav superiority here. And look, now I start moving up my infantry. My infantry hasn't engaged up until this point. I used my cavalry advantage in order to clean up my opponent's cav, and now I'm just gonna use my camels here to run through my enemy's skirmishers and kill them. And I'm gonna start surrounding whatever little forces remain of my barbarian opponent here. Look at all these guys trying their best to kill the elephants. They do kill the elephants, but now they're all blobbed up. The elephants did the damage. That one unit, where's that one unit that we attacked? Probably either routed or maybe the elephants just did. No, there it is, 97. I saw one that was 97. There he is. Oh, that's a spear noble. So I'm bringing my Royal Peltasts in here. Cavalry has pretty much about to win on this flank. Here's some close-ups. And this is an Oathsworn here. My elephants and my Agema Cavalry here are just going to do dandy to kill them. Royal Peltasts are surrounding little isolated units here. And this is really the only place where it's starting to look a little too kind of not really great for me, because in a melee blob, Oathsworns will always win against these Royal Peltasts. But I've done so well in the cav fights that I can afford to do this. My units are going to, the ones that freed up at least, they're going to be able to start surrounding. I win the cav fight there. I'm sending my elephants and my cav this way. These guys are about to win. This unit of noble horse is losing decisively. They are wavering, and with the death of my opponent's general, there it is. Clean rout. And both of the games that I show you in this battle are actually against two clan players that I've recognized and that I've seen in some tourneys recently. So that's the first battle. Notice how I used a sword base, I used a strong cavalry component, and I used elephants and camels to win the cav fight quickly. So let's move on to the next one. I've got lots of battles here, but this thing is bugged. So let me try and find it. I think it's that one, yeah. Alright, here we go. So, this one is a little bit, I'd say the previous army is a little better, but I came up against Egypt and I figured, let me try and utilize pikes and see if I can use the pikes correctly. So, I've got 6 of these Levy Pikemen. This is a really bad pike unit, but because they're pikes, you can get away with it. These guys are gonna form my backbone, really, and it's not really that strong of a backbone, but it's okay because they are supported by a plethora of units here. We've got 2 units of regular slingers. 14 missile damage means that these guys really aren't going to be getting a lot of kills. They're just gonna hopefully frustrate my opponent and maybe help me tip the balance in certain infantry fights where my pikes need support. I've also got 1 unit of Eastern Slingers, 19 damage on these guys. We're going to do a little bit more damage. 1 unit of camels to do the scaring. That's very necessary for Seleucid builds. I've got 2 units of these shield bearers supporting my flanks, 1 on the left, 1 on the right. These guys have rapid advance. They have shield phalanx or hoplite phalanx. They have square. They're excellent units, excellent supporting units to place on your flanks. They can do really, really well to prevent enemies from going around, and the bulk and the strength of my army lies in my cavalry. This time I've brought 4 units of these Hellenic Cataphracts. This is basically almost like a clone to Royal Cataphracts, but they have a little bit less armor and they're not as sturdy. And then my favorite Seleucid unit, the Azat Knights. 2 units of Azat Knights, 1 on each flank, and then 2 units of Hellenic Royal Cataphracts on each flank as well. So, let's take a look at my opponent's Egyptian army. So he's got 4 Ptolemaic Cav. He's got 4 units of Hellenic Royal Guards, 2 Galatians, 2 elephants, and that's his army. So, the challenge here is very straightforward. His supporting infantry units can beat my hoplites, my supporting infantry units. His main corps can really beat my main corps head to head. His elephants can do so much damage to my hoplite levies, or Levy Pikemen, sorry, that it becomes very difficult to avoid those elephants, and we'll see how this game plays out. The only real advantage that I have is the Seleucids, and you'll notice that in both battles, the Seleucids need to always field strong cavalry to support their core, and that's one of their strengths. Like for Egypt, this is a good cav component. 4 Ptolemaic cav. Ptolemaic cav are pretty cost effective. They're pretty cost efficient. They can do lots of damage against melee cav. But the Seleucids have a small edge because you have Hellenic Cataphracts, you have Agema to pick from, and you have the Azats. The Azats are going to prove crucial in this battle. So here we go. My opponent is trying to come near me. I don't like how close I am to his elephants. I don't like how I don't like how close I am to his pikes. So I'm going to pull back a little bit, and let's actually put this in slow motion and show you guys how I'm deploying. So I've got a really heavy loaded left flank in terms of infantry here. 4 of my Levy Pikemen are on this flank, and my center appears very weak with only 2 units of Levy Pikes. And if you look at the mini-map here, the whole plan is to entice my enemy's army to stop in this area. See, I want the infantry engagement to start happening here. And the reason for this is because it's going to allow me to use this flank to kind of clamp and hit them from the side. Then their superiority in quality won't really matter. So, I'm going to take the cav engagement here. I'm going to charge with all of my Hellenic cav units. Here they come in force. And I'm going to send one of my Azats here forward. This one gets caught, unfortunately, against these pikes. This was, I think, the only mistake I make in this battle. Otherwise, I'm doing actually pretty well. I've got really clean charges on all of his units. His units are already down to 40, 30. My cav is doing really well. And notice what I'm doing with my pikes. I'm gonna just show you the command orders. I'm not engaging. I don't need to engage now. I'm gonna notice this Azat Knight, but look, this Azat Knight is doing fine even against pike units from the front, guys. I think this unit might be a little bit overpowered at this stage. 74 melee defense. Now they're starting to be like, okay, we're not doing too well. He brings in his elephants now. This is a really bad mistake. Elephants aren't going to be doing that well against this many cav. And look, he hasn't supported. He can't support. And you'll see he's going to try to push forward in many places. And I'm just going to turn around and run away. See? What I'm going to let him do is, if he wants to come here in places like this and try to do an engagement frontally, sure. Sure, I'll let him do it. He's going to attack here. Here I've got 1 unit of shield bearers. You can see the shield bearer, as I said, doesn't do too well against the Galatian Royal Guard. But I'm going to tilt one of my pike units very shortly here. And now look, he's trying to push forward with his pikes. I still haven't won the cav fight, so no sir. I'm just going to fall back. I'm just going to keep my pikes there as a holding force. My slingers here again get out of position. I think this is because I was aiming at his elephants, one of his elephant units. I run my slingers back now. He's trying to run forward. Look, this 1 pike unit starts to get an engagement, and I'm like, nope. See, it killed 20 men that quickly. I can't let them engage. I just want it to seem that I've got a strong force here. But in reality, if he presses me and attacks my pikes, I'm going to be dead. But the main focus here is that I'm trying my best to prolong the battle, to make the battle last as long as possible. This unit is actually doing pretty well against this Galatian, and now I'm gonna turn these guys over here, and they're gonna hit at the sides of these guys. And look, see, when I got them in tight formation like this, several pikes are attacking at once, as opposed to the silly stretched out lines that you saw. Now I've won the cav fight, and now I'm gonna go on the offensive. And the way I'm gonna do this, in order to beat his quality superiority, is I'm gonna do the old classic move, the 2-to-1. People used to do this loads in Rome 1, and basically what you do is you line up 2 of your pike units in a formation that is pretty much the same length as your opponent's, and then you walk to them. So notice I'm gonna ignore this unit. This unit is getting absolutely pelted by all of my slingers at once. I want to weaken them as much as possible, and once they're weak enough, in comes my phalanx. Here we go, running down the hill, and look, it's 2 units of pikes against 1 that's depleted and hurt. It doesn't matter that he's a Hellenic Royal Guard. Look at how much damage I'm doing at the front here. These guys are not having a great time. Look at that. They're falling very, very quickly. And I'm going to try to do the same thing here, but I want to engage this unit because it's full strength. I want to engage it with one of my shield bearers first. I hit that from the flank, and I'm gonna come in forward, but because this is full strength, it's actually gonna do a little bit better than that one. Notice how they're absolutely shredding one of the units, and also the second one. So see, this is how superior his pikes are to mine. So that's why I needed the support units. That's why I needed the slingers. And now I notice this, and I'm like, okay, this unit might give me a little bit of trouble. I shift targets to this one that's looking the other way. And I'm going to start targeting with all my slingers towards the back of this Hellenic Royal Guard. And look, I still have my camels. My camels are going to do some flaming to do a little bit of morale damage. Slingers still firing. Over here, we've pretty much succeeded in destroying and routing that one Hellenic Royal Guard that was hurt. Now this Oathsworn is trying to get to me, but there's just way too many pikes and they're going to get bushwhacked. Same thing is happening here. But see, this Hellenic Royal Guard is actually going to end up killing my militia. Or Levy Pikes. I'm gonna slam into the rears of these guys. In comes my general. And now, in comes more camels. They're gonna commit to the charge. Hellenic Cataphracts committing to the charge as well. Flaming arrows. Slingers. And it's gonna be over before you know it. Here come the Hellenic Cataphracts. They are exhausted. They have been fighting all battle, but that's not gonna matter at this stage because, you know, the enemy's general is gone. There's too much morale. They're wavering because of army losses, and that is going to end that battle. So those were 2 Seleucid armies for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the 2 battles. I hope you learned a little bit from the armies. I tried my best to use them. Pikes are still a little bit difficult to use, but you saw how with supporting units, Levy Pikemen can dense up together, push up against a stronger unit statistically, and do well. The key element in the second battle was that I managed to prolong the battle as long as possible. I let my cav win, and once my cav won, that's when you commit to the cavalry engagement. And it was very similar with the first battle. I didn't really attack with my units until my elephants and my camels and my cavalry did the job. So this is the strength of the Seleucid army, guys, in that you can bring a pike corps and then switch that around with a sword corps, and you can still bring such good supporting units. Your cav is always so good. You can get elephants, you can get camels, and I didn't even show you guys scythe chariots. You can bring scythe chariots, do so much damage. You can even practice and play around with skirmish-based builds for the Seleucids. In my last video, I didn't mean to say that the Seleucids are a bad faction, but that some of their units are overpriced and not very cost-effective, but that doesn't mean that the Seleucids isn't a great faction overall, because it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like or a thumbs up and a comment telling me what you think about the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.